There once was a bear who was easily scared. Each night before going to sleep, he would tie a bell to his door. That would make a noise if anyone tried to sneak in, because even a bear who is easily scared is a very heavy sleeper. Sorry. Say hello to the camera, kids. He was even afraid of his own reflection. And because he couldn't see himself, he never brushed his teeth.
Uh-oh.
Brushed. Well, and always had food stuck in his teeth. When you're a scared bear with food stuck in your teeth, you don't have many friends. Bear had one, Rabbit. Rabbit was never scared. She read scary stories. She slept with her door wide open. And she brushed her teeth while hanging from a tree branch by her ears. This gave her very strong ears. One day, Rabbit made an announcement. Bear, we're going on an adventure. Bear suggested that instead of going on an adventure, they could read a book about adventures. That way, if anything went wrong, they could just close the book. He's too scared.
Yes.
Rabbit looked at her friend and asked, Bear, are you scared? And Bear replied, No, I'm not scared. You're scared. And with that, Bear walked out the door, past Rabbit, and out the front door. Bear stopped to make sure he had everything he needed. Do we need a bike helmet? Bear asked. No, said Rabbit. Do we need oven mitts? No, said Rabbit. Rabbit, do we need bear repellent spray? You're a bear, said Rabbit. After walking a while, they came to a stream. It looks deep, said Bear. It's not deep. It looks cold, said Bear. It's not cold, said Rabbit. It looks like it has filled with fish who have very sharp teeth. Who kind of fish, Rabbit, who could like nothing more than to nibble on the ankles of a delicious bear. Rabbit looked at her friend and asked again, Bear, are you scared? And Bear replied once again, I'm not scared, you're scared. And with that, Bear walked along the stream until it narrowed in enough that he could step over it. There, he found Rabbit, who had fallen asleep waiting for him. longer, they came to a edge of the woods. It looks dark, said Bear. It's not dark, said Rabbit. It looks spooky, said Bear. It's not spooky, said Rabbit. It looks like it has... It looks like it's full of trees that are going to fall down and bonk us on the heads. Rabbit looked at her friend and said, Bear, are you scared? And Bear replied, no, I'm not scared. You're scared. And with that, Bear realized he would do anything to avoid the dark, spooky woods. Wanted to walk to the road where he waited for the bus. The bus picked him up and drove him all the way through the forest. Then he got to the other side. He woke up a rabbit who had once again fallen asleep waiting for him. They walked some more until they came to a mountain. It looks high, said Bear. It's not high, said Rabbit. It looks slippery, said Bear. It's not slippery, said Rabbit.
Keep going.
It looks like one of the rocks will fall down and roll and land on my paw, said Bear. Rabbit looked at her friend, and it just had to ask, Bear, are you scared? Bear replied, I'm not scared, you're scared. And with that, Bear, realizing he would do anything to avoid the high and slippery mountain, walked to the nearest train station. The train took him to halfway around the mountain and to an airfield. At the airfield, Bear bought a ticket on a helicopter. That flew him to the top of the mountain and dropped him off next to a rabbit who had no surprise here had fallen asleep. Rabbit, said Bear, waking her up. Should we go home? I am not going home, said Rabbit. And she bounced off with Bear following behind her. After a bit more walking, they found themselves at one side of a long bridge. Bear stopped. It looks rickety, said Bear. It might be a little rickety, said Rabbit. It looks old, said Bear. It might be a little It might be pretty old, said Rabbit. It looks like the boards might break if you were heavy enough, said Bear. Agreed, Rabbit. said Rabbit. And agreed Rabbit. Rabbit looked at her friend and asked, Bear, are you scared? And Bear took a deep breath and said, Yes, Rabbit, I am scared. I was scared of the river. I was scared of the forest, and I was scared of the mountain, but I am the most scared about this long, old, rickety bridge. And with that, Bear turned around and headed home. Okay. She marched to the helicopter that flew him back to the airfield. Then took the train back to the forest. Where got on the bus that took him to the river, so he could cross the. Hey, look! Look like the pages crumble because it's a map.
Oh, that's cool.
And then trudged all the way back to his house, where he crawled into bed. Rabbit went to the middle of the bridge and thought, see, this bridge isn't dangerous. It's a good bridge, and it proved it. She started to jump up and down.
Uh-oh.
And then she jumped harder, and then she jumped harder than she had ever jumped in her life.
Uh-oh.
And then the board she was jumping on cracked in half.
Oh,
And
no.
Rabbit fell right
Uh-oh.
through the hole in the bridge. Luckily, Rabbit had very strong ears, but she knew she wouldn't be able to hold on forever.
Oh boy.
And because of this, Rabbit, for the first time in her life, was scared.
Boy.
Now, Bear and Rabbit hadn't noticed, but throughout their journey, they had been followed by a small bird. Bird, fear, realizing she had to get help, so she flew as fast as she could all the way back to Bear's house. Bird flew into Bear's window and started chirping in as loud as she could, but Bear didn't wake up because even a bear who is easily scared, is a very heavy sleeper. Bird was about to give up when she saw the bell on his door. Bird put her beak inside it and shook it as hard as she could. Bird jumped out of bed. Here, Bird. Help, Birdie. Bird yelled, "Rabbit is falling through the bridge and needs your help." And in a moment, Bear felt something he had never felt before: courage. He was so worried about his friend that instead of staying home where it was safe, he ran out the door faster than he had ever ran before. Then Bear reached the stream. He ran through it. It only came up to his ankles. Then he came to the forest and ran right through it. It was only 3 trees.
That bear.
Then, and when he came to the mountain, he didn't even think about taking a train and a helicopter. He just climbed right up it. It wasn't very high. Do you think that looks very high to you?
No, it does not.
Grandma, do you think this looks very high to you?
Not very high at all.
I think I would climb that in like a second. Meanwhile, Rabbit is now hanging
Oh no.
on one ear.
Uh-oh.
She could feel it slipping.
Oh boy.
And just as she lost her grip,
Da-da-da, page turner.
Bear grabbed her by the ear and lifted her safely. Bear, were you scared? Said Rabbit. Bear said with pride and horse. Rabbit, I was scared. I was scared too, said Rabbit. And Bear smiled and said, sometimes it's okay to be scared. Then that night, when Bear brushed his teeth, he didn't hide from his reflection. He looked right at it and would you know what he saw? A very brave bear with no food in his teeth.
Good job.
Yay. The end.
Good job.